We've looked at the fundamentals of two different ETFs, exchange-traded funds. The Vanguard All-World ETF with a focus on North America, and the SPDR EM Asia, established in 2011 to measure the performance of approximately 9 emerging markets in Asia. Both of these ETFs have a broad coverage in terms of the sectors in which the stocks of these ETFs are located. Today I want to explain in which different sectors you can classify shares. Shares can be divided over various sectors. There is an official classification for these sectors known as the GICS, the Global Industry Classification Standard, which includes 11 different sectors within the stock market. Such a sector, or group of shares, contains shares that have a lot in common. Often the reason for this is that they're in the same type of industry. Shares are categorized because it makes it easier to compare the business models with each other. When investing in stocks, you can therefore choose to invest in those stocks that fall within sectors that interest you. It may even help you make decisions for your possible next investment. In the overview behind me, you'll see the 11 sectors that are involved, namely energy, materials, industrials, utilities, healthcare, finance, consumer goods, luxury consumer goods, information technology, communication services, and real estate. Let's have a closer look at each of the categories. The energy sector includes companies engaged in the oil and natural gas industry. For convenience sake, let's call them the old energy industry, which excludes renewable energy sources such as solar and wind energy. It includes all oil and gas exploration and production companies, as well as producers of other consumable fuels such as coal and ethanol. The energy sector also includes the suppliers for companies in this sector, so the companies that supply equipment, services, and materials. A perfect example of this sector is the Royal Dutch Shell Company, commonly known as Shell. Within the materials sector, you'll find companies that supply various goods for use in manufacturing applications, such as chemicals, building materials, and packaging, but also companies that specialize in making paper, for example. An example of a company from this sector is DuPont, a large manufacturer of chemicals. In the industrial sector, you'll find a wide range of companies that mainly deal with heavy equipment, for example in transport, in the form of airlines, railways, and logistics companies, but also companies within the aerospace, defense, construction, and mechanical engineering sectors. Companies that make construction products, heavy electrical equipment, and machines are also included in this sector. Take Boeing, for example. Utilities are companies that often have a regional scope. American Electric Power, for example. There are utility companies engaged in natural gas transport, where others are engaged in supplying water to their customers. Within this sector, you will also find companies that deal with renewable energy. Companies can therefore also shift from one sector to another, or be located in two sectors simultaneously. Take the aforementioned Shell, for example. Shell is now also involved in renewable energy. The healthcare sector has two major components. On the one hand, companies that produce medicine and develop treatments based on biotechnology, as well as companies that produce analytical instruments and supplies necessary for clinical studies. On the other hand, the companies that supply medical equipment and all services related to it, including supplies for surgery, medical diagnostic aids, but also health insurance. Johnson & Johnson, as well as Philips Medical, are two perfect examples of this sector. All companies that specifically handle money are included in the financial sector. These are not only banks, but also insurance companies, brokerage firms, providers of consumer finance, such as short-term loans and mortgage-related real estate investment funds. Western Union, for example. An important division has been made between luxury consumer goods and other consumer goods. By luxury consumer goods, we mean goods and services that depend on the financial status of the consumer. For example, someone who earns 25,000 euros per year will most likely buy a different type of car than someone who earns €500,000 per year. In this sector, we will find companies that sell more expensive items, such as cars and luxury goods, but also leisure products. In addition, this sector includes companies active in the hospitality industry, like hotels or restaurants. Well-known examples from this sector are Amazon.com, but also McDonald's. Other consumer goods are goods that consumers need regardless of their current financial situation. This includes food, drink, and yes, tobacco, as well as household and personal care products. Retail companies that specialize in selling all these products, such as supermarkets, are included in this sector. Unilever and Nestle are good examples of this. Information technology. This is a very broad sector, from companies engaged in making software or providing services such as implementing technological solutions to companies in the hardware manufacturing market like computer chips. Of course, we all know the two biggest players, Apple and Microsoft. The communication services sector is the youngest of all GICS sectors. This includes the providers of both mobile and landline telecommunications, but the companies involved in network maintenance also form a branch within this sector. In addition, this sector includes a branch for media and entertainment companies, which is growing rapidly. The best-known players in this field currently are Facebook and Google. The last of the 11 GICS sectors is the real estate sector. This industry sector is solely concerned with real estate. Companies within this sector, for example, set up real estate projects and then rent these spaces to other companies. An example from the Netherlands is Vastned, but the largest public real estate company is called Brookfield Asset Management, with assets over $250 billion. Now you know which sectors are out there, and there will most likely be sectors that interest you more or less. Go ahead and take a look at which companies familiar to you operate within the various sectors in order to arrive at a diversified investment portfolio. But you can also take a look at an ETF that provides good coverage within the sector you find most interesting. I'll show you exactly how to do that next time. See you then.